Welcome back to my channel, Tree of Wife. Today, I want to share something very personal, how feminism, the way I first understood it, failed me. This isn't a polished theory or a debate, it's my story, my reflections, and I'm hoping that maybe it will resonate with someone listening. Join me as I chat, cook, and organise. Before I start cooking, I like to try and get the kitchen in order. It just makes it so much easier to get things done, and I feel better and more efficient when it's that way. So I'm just going to tidy up the sink, the dishwasher, put away kitchen items, and then I'm going to get started on making my favourite dish. Well, one of my favourite dishes anyway, which is mince and pasta. It's really simple, but because I'm postpartum, I just want to make something that's very easy and not too difficult, just so I can rest and be with baby. Also, the reason why I like to make mince a lot is because it's very versatile. I can put it on top of pasta, I can add it to make lasagna, I can use it in tacos, so I end up getting a lot more meals from it, which is why I regularly make it a lot. Anyhow, I want to get into the topic of how feminism failed me, especially as a black woman, although this probably can relate to women from all backgrounds. I grew up never really being asked, do you want to be a wife one day? Do you want to be a mother? Instead, the only conversations had was, what A-levels will you take? What degree? What job? And at the time, I thought I was making smart choices, and some of them definitely were. I chose an apprenticeship, I went into telecoms, I climbed the career ladder, and I even got my degree for free as part of another apprenticeship that I did. And on paper, everything was perfect. But if I'm really being true to myself, deep inside, something was off. I remember being with my boyfriend, my now husband, and whenever the topic of kids came up, I would feel so uncomfortable because I didn't have a straight answer and I couldn't see how kids could fit into my life. I would brush it aside. I would say, yes, I guess one day, but after I finish my degree, or after my promotion, or after this milestone or that milestone, then maybe we can have kids. And I was treating starting a family like it was just another line item on a checklist, a distant dream or travel destination. Like, for example, yes, I want to go to Hawaii, but someday, I don't know when, I don't know how. There was no plan behind it or even thought process about having a family, the same way I had put that thought process into having a career. And the truth is, I did think more deeply about my salary, my job title, my next step at work, and my plan of being an employee, while neglecting pretty much every other aspect of my life, such as building a home, a family. And that's how much I had been pulled into the career first narrative. I didn't even consciously know at the time. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against feminism. I'm grateful for all the doors it opened. I believe in women having independence, having freedoms to shape their lives. But here's the problem. I never saw a version of feminism that supported women with my wants and my desires, women like me. A woman who wants to be a wife and sees that as a top priority, who wants to raise children, who finds fulfillment in home, faith and family. And I didn't see a lot of support in society for the women who say, I'd love to be a stay-at-home mum, or I want to prioritise being a wife. Where is the support for that choice? And I understand it is a nuanced topic. For example, not every family can afford that lifestyle. I know that. But often I'm wondering to myself, why isn't the conversation even had in the first place about what matters to women beyond career? I've realised now, with where I am in life, that sometimes peace at home is worth more than another paycheck for me. And to be honest, I wish someone had told me earlier that both paths equally deserve respect. Whether I'm career-driven or home-centred, or a woman wants to be career-driven or home-centred, both options are valid and both do need support. By the way, I know that as you see me cook, I am adding korma sauce to my mince. This is actually something my mum taught me to do, because growing up we always found having mince dishes quite bland, but I learned this from her, just to add the korma sauce. It definitely lifts the flavour for me, and my family enjoy eating it, so that's why we add it. So although I'm married now and thank God we have a son, reality did hit me hard. There were moments I'd say very hurtful things to my husband, like, I don't need you. I choose for you to be in my life. And thinking back now, I'm just imagine if he said that to me, how would I feel? And at work, I would purposely act tough, act masculine, because I felt I had to compete. I'd even joke about men being weak, like with the so-called man flu. I remember one time I was on a call with two men at work, and one of them was sick with man flu, and it was a Teams call, and I made a joke about men not handling pain well as much as women, and I said it in a very condescending way. And on the call, both men went really quiet. One even said to me, "You've got the wrong crowd." And I remember on that call, I was so embarrassed and ashamed for putting men down, but I was confused because I was told that this is normal. How can I be wrong? Clearly they're too sensitive. And honestly, they were right to go quiet, because without my realising, I had absorbed the message that men were disposable, that men were an afterthought and not to be respected, that women should rise up by tearing men down. But deep down, when I started reflecting, and especially when I began to walk with Christ, I realised that that wasn't me or who I wanted to be. The real truth was that I wanted a husband, I wanted to be married young. I wanted children. I wanted a family. And I realize now that that wasn't my weakness. It was my authentic desire. And when I stopped following the girl boss script and started listening to my heart, my wants, my vision, my desires, that's when my life came into alignment. And now I see men completely differently. Not as takers, but as givers, as protectors, as providers and partners. And personally, I stopped man bashing altogether, because the reality is half the world is men. They're not the enemy. They were never created to be the enemy. They're part of the story. Quick side note to me organising here. I have a habit where every time I do a big shop and buy a lot of vegetable produce, I like to wash them off first, dry them, and then organise them into containers, just because I find that when they're kept in the bags, for me, they tend to rot and spoil and wilt very quickly. And I don't like that. I end up having to throw out a lot of waste, and it really bothers me because I really don't like wasting food. And I decided to look for solutions online on how best to preserve food, and one of them was to store them in really good quality containers, make sure that the food is dry as well, so that moisture doesn't make a lot of mold and for them to spoil, basically. So back to the topic. Overall, yes, feminism shaped me, but it also failed me in some aspects, because it didn't show me that there was more than one way to be a strong woman. And my hope in sharing this is that another woman listening might pause and ask, what do I really want? What is authentic to me? Not just what society has told me to be or told me I should chase, but is the path I've chosen really making me happy? For me, my answer was faith, family, femininity, motherhood. But for you, it might look different, and that's absolutely okay. But either way, I believe we all deserve the freedom to choose, and regardless of the options that are chosen, they deserve to be equally respected and not condemned in culture of a woman being weak for preferring to live a more traditional life or a stay-at-home life, but to also be empowered by it. One of the main reasons for me creating this channel is because I wanted to see a lot more topics around women that love staying at home or want to stay at home or want to aim to be a stay-at-home mom or wife, and how that can be possible and how it can happen, and to empower women, all women, just because I believe that there's so much empowerment for one type of lifestyle, but I don't see a lot for the other. I think it's lacking, and I definitely felt in myself that if I can just help one woman out there to say or feel that she's not alone, that if you do want to be a stay-at-home wife, or you do want to be a mum, and that's more important to you than a career, I completely understand that, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Here you can see me peeling the carrots. The reason why I do this is because I remember reading somewhere, or maybe I watched a video, that peeling carrots make them last longer, because again, I remember I would keep them in the bag and they would always rot and again become waste. So peeling them and then storing them in the way I have, it seems to make them last way longer than before. So now I do it every time. And of course, after all that prep and cooking, there's a lot of washing up to do. But I actually find washing up quite therapeutic. I tend to leave my headphones in and just listen to music while I do it and relax. Let me know if you think that's weird or if you find washing up quite calming as well as cooking. Again, with the mushrooms, I take them out of their packaging as well and leave them uncovered just because I find that they don't mold and they last longer. And I just wanted to say thank you for cooking and cleaning with me today and listening to my story. If this resonated with you, I'd love for you to join our community here at Tree Up Wife. Subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's walk this journey together. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.